Let's talk about the cold-blooded, barbaric murder of Rasheem Carter. Rasheem was only 25 years old when he was chased, hunted, and murdered in a forest. He left behind a beautiful family that included his 6-year-old baby girl and his mother, who is now spending every breathing moment trying to figure out what happened to her son and trying to get justice for him. I've tried my best to gather all the factual information and put it in this video. If I say anything that is wrong, I do apologize, and please correct me in the comments. And as always, I mean no harm to the victim or their families. This is just what I have gathered from reading articles. In September of 2022, Rasheem was hired through a staffing company called Trillium. He was hired by a company called Georgia Pacific. They wanted him to work a couple hours away in Taylorsville, Mississippi. So the day before he was actually supposed to drive down there to the Super 8 motel, his car broke down and he asked his cousin to give him a ride. So when he arrives there, he meets his familiar face, a guy who he worked with before. And I'm not sure if they were roommating this time again or if they were only previously roommates. Either way, they knew each other. And since they were going to the same job site, the guy asked him if he needed a ride to work. And of course, Rasheem needed that ride, so he accepted. Rasheem's mother talked about how he would always call her and he would hardly ever go a day without speaking to her. So the next day after work, he ended up calling his mom and she told him that he looked like something was wrong. You know, a mother's intuition is always right. He told her that nothing was wrong and that was just that. So a couple days later, he ends up calling her again and he tells her that actually something was wrong and that him and the dude that he was getting a ride from had like some type of back and forth, and the dude was no longer willing to give him a ride to work. So due to this falling out, Rasheem had no way of getting back to the Super 8 motel. He tried to offer someone $100 to give him a ride back, but they declined. He ends up calling his mom and he's kind of explaining the situation, and then he tells her something crazy. He tells her that there is 3 trucks filled with white men following him. He told her that if something happens to him, it's because of somebody at the job and that his manager basically has it out for him. So she tells him to head to the police station and tell them what's going on. So I'm not really sure what happens at the police station because there are too many conflicting reports on what was said at the police station the first time he went. But I can tell you that after he leaves the police station, he sees the police officers or some police officers at an Exxon, and he approaches them and he asks them for a ride back to his hotel because he's in fear for his life. They told them that it's too far out of their jurisdiction and that they are not a taxi service. So he was left to figure it out on his own. So at this time, he is on the phone with family members and he is trying to get rides back to his hometown. And while they're figuring that out, he ends up going back to the police station and he literally asked them if he can stay in a cell there for his protection. And they told him no. They told him what he could do, though, is go to another hotel and sleep there for the night. But he was really fearing for his life, so he didn't want to do that. Rasheem tried to do everything to get himself out of that situation, but it seemed like the people who are supposed to protect and serve were not protecting and serving that night. And I don't know if this had anything to do with the color of his skin. Me personally, I think so, but tell me what you think in the comments. Time continues to pass and Rasheem is probably wandering around town trying to figure out what to do, trying to stay safe, trying to stay hidden because like I said, he felt like somebody was after him. He felt like his life was in danger. So I don't know what he was doing during those hours, but what I do know is that he stayed an entire night in a sundown town. And the next morning, you know, his phone was starting to die because he had been on the phone with his family the whole time trying to figure out who can come and get him and what he should do next. So he heads back to the police station not only to address his concerns about his safety and well-being, but also to ask them for his charger. And at that time, he was on the phone with his mother, so his mother heard the conversation. And when he asked the police officer for a charger, they told him no, and that they didn't have any chargers that would fit his iPhone. But they told him he could go to the Dollar General and get him a charger. So he heads to the Dollar General, and while he's in there, he hears the cashier on the phone saying, yes, he's in here right now. That sent Rasheem into a panic and he rushed out of the store without a charger. And so he texts his pupils his location, and then after that, he was not heard from anymore. Once his cousin arrived, because they ended up finding someone to come and get him, They checked everywhere for him. They went to the location he sent them. He wasn't there. They checked his hotel. He wasn't there. And it was kind of like he just fell off of the face of the earth. A couple days later, his family goes out there to search for him and find answers, because it had been a week at this point, or coming up on a week, and they haven't heard anything from him. The sheriff contacted Rasheem's mother and told her that he had been caught on a trail camera. And in the video, or in the picture from what I've seen, and also from what his mom has said, he looked like he was in disarray. He has a big stick in his hand, as if he's like trying to protect himself with it, and he has bruises all over his back. And his mother said that he looked like he had been chased there. The very next day, the sheriff calls his mother again. So a month later, a whole entire month later, a sheriff calls his mother and tells her that they have found his remains. And his remains had been found about 300 feet away from where that video was taken on the trail camera. Rasheem's autopsy revealed that he had been decapitated, and that his remains were scattered all around. The police are very adamant that there was no foul play involved, even though his head was severed and his teeth were missing. His top and bottom teeth were missing from his skeleton, because that's all they found. And they didn't find much. What they did find could literally fit in a box. Later, they find that someone tried to use his credit card, did their calculations, and figured that this card was swiped around the time that Rasheem would have been not alive. After Rasheem's murder, another man, Tyrekus Atwood, he goes on Facebook and he details his experience that happened only months after Rasheem's death. He says that he was kidnapped, captured, freed, and then chased through the same forest, but the only difference is he made it out with his life. He says that they took off his shoes and they told him to run, and so he ran. And he ran to a police station and he told them literally, I'm being chased. Like, these people have kidnapped me. They're chasing me. They're trying to kill me. They're trying to hunt me. Like, they're literally trying to hunt me. And the police told them there's nothing they can do about that and told him to leave. They ended up breaking one of his teeth before he was able to escape, and I think one of them even jumped on his back and bit him. But if you want to read the post, I'm pretty sure it's still somewhere on Facebook. Also, if you want to stay up to date on what's going on, because his mother is still fighting to figure out what happened to him, and not only that, but to get justice for him. So if you guys want to stay updated with that, all you have to do is search his name, Rasheem Carter, on Facebook, and a bunch of posts will come up. And I'm pretty sure if you sift through that, you can figure out which one is his mother, or like his family's page. I think they just did a protest for him again. This whole situation is very sad, and I think that it's no coincidence that another man comes out with the same exact experience. All right, guys, that's all I have for today. As usual, I love you guys. Be safe out there. Oh, and one more thing before I leave. This account on Facebook, Kimberly Marullo, has literally been stealing every video I post, pretending to be me. If you guys can please go and report that page so we can get that taken down. They did not create, they did not put this time and effort into these videos. This is not simple. It takes a lot of work to do this, and it's just simply not fair. So please report that page. Thank you.